Hi, welcome back to the IC YouTube channel. Today's tutorial will be on how to draft and sew this classy wrap top with shawl collar. Please do well to watch to the end of the video. I'll start with the back pattern first, and I've gone ahead to mark out my basic body blocks. Okay, from the shoulder line I came down by 7.5 for my chest line, which is my armhole line, then 10 inches for my bust point line, then 14.5 inches for my waistline, then the full length is 24 inches. Then I also made a mark up my shoulder measurement, shoulder divided by 2. Then I also had my dart intake here. The next thing I'll do is to take my neck width of 3 inches, then the neck depth of 1.3 inches. I'll make a mark and I'll connect the neck depth to the neck width. Now at the shoulder area, I'll come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope, make a mark there, then connect it back to the neckline. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to take my bust measurement, bust divided by 4, make a mark. I'll place it at my chest line and also at my bust point line, and I'm just going to connect it to the shoulder. Now once I'm done with that, I'll take my waist measurements divided by 4, take the hip measurements divided by 4. I'll connect it. Once I'm done connecting this, that's it for the back piece. I'll just cut this out. Then from this point, I'm going to come up by 1 inch. I'll make a mark, then I'll connect it back to this point. This is to prevent the side from being pointy. Then I'll cut this out. Now for the front part. For the front pattern, I've gone ahead to also mark out my basic body blocks, and I also left at this side, I left like 3 inches for the shawl extension. Okay, now all my measurement will be starting from this line. Then at the top area as well, I also left 4 inches upwards for my shawl, for the shawl collar. Now all measurement to be starting from this point. Now from this point, I'm going to take my neck width of 3 inches. Then at the shoulder area, I came down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. Now I'm going to connect the neckline to the shoulder slope. Now from this point, I'm going to place my tape, get to the chest line, divide it into 2, make a mark there, then come in by 0.5 inch. I'm going to connect it to the chest line. That's for the armhole curve. Now I'll take the bust measurement starting from this line, bust divided by 4, make a mark, place it at the chest line, also place it at the bust point line. Now for my basic blocks for the front, from the shoulder line I came down by 7.5 for the chest line, then 10 inches for the bust point, then 16 inches for the waistline, then 25.5 inches for the full length for the front. Okay, now my waistline for the front is 16 inches, but the back is 14.5 inches. That's because I'll be taking out a side dart. Okay, and the side dart, I'm going to subtract 1.5 inch for the side dart. So when I do that, the front and the back will correspond. Now I'm going to take my waist measurement divided by 4, take my hip measurement divided by 4. Now I'm going to connect. Once I'm done connecting, at this point, I'm going to come up by 1 inch as well, and I'm going to curve it. Now for the neck depth for the front, from this point, I'm going to come down by 7 inches. I'll make a mark at 7 inches. It's like a V-neck. I'm going to connect it from the neck depth to the neck width. I'll extend this to the shawl extension. Okay, now the overlap area for this shawl extension will just be 1.5 inch. This is my preferred measurement. Yours can be more than that. Yours can lap more than 1.5 inch, but I'll just take this 1.5 inch down. And I will extend this neckline just like so. Now for the upper area, we need the back piece for this. Now I'm going to get the back piece and I'm going to take my tape and measure the neck. I'm going to measure my neck, and what he gave me was 3.5 inches, and now I'm going to place that 3.5 inches upwards starting from here, and it's going to be in a slanted form, not straight. Now I'll make a mark at 3.5. Now I'm going to connect. Now I'm going to determine how wide I want my shawl to be, and I want mine to be 3.5 inch. So I'm going to make a mark at 3.5. Now after making this mark, I'm going to connect from this point to this point using my curve ruler. Then after connecting, I'll also use the curve ruler to connect it to this other end. Then I'll connect this part. Once I'm done connecting this part, the next thing now is to blend this area. I'm just going to go in by 0.2 inches on both sides, and I'll use my free hand to blend it. Next thing is to take my bust span measurement. From my bust point to the full length, I'm going to mark 3.5 inch and I'm going to connect it. Now at this shoulder area, I'm going to place my tape this way and I'll divide it into two, make a mark. Now connect it back to the bust point line. The next is to take the side dart. I'm going to take a side dart of 1.5 inch from this bust point line, make a mark, connect it back to the bust point itself. Now I'll cut this out. After cutting it out, at this lower part, I want to give it a little curve. I'm going to go in by 2 inches, then up by 4 inches. I'm just going to give it a little curve. If you want yours to have more curvy effect, you go in by 4 or 5 inches. Now I'll cut this out. The next thing I'm going to do is to open this side dart, then also cut through the shoulder line as well. Now I'll close in the side dart. I'll use my slow tape now to hold this down. Now before I close this shoulder part, I'm going to do a slash and spread at the waist area, and to do this I'll just extend this waistline to the shawl extension. Now from this point, I'm going to go in by 2 inches. I'll make a mark at 2 inches. Now from this point, I'm going to make a mark connecting it to this point, this to the bust point. I also rule a line to meet this end. Now from this line, I'm going to go in by 1.5 inches. I'll make a mark at 1.5 inches. Then from that point, I'll make a mark connecting it to this point, then also to this point. I'm going to cut through this line. Watch closely on how I'm going to cut through this line. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're yet to do so. After that, I'm going to close this shoulder area. I'll use my slow tape to hold it down. Now after holding it down, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spread this. I'm going to get another pattern and I'll spread this on this pattern. Now I'm going to spread this out this way and I'm going to use my slow tape to hold it down to prevent it from moving. Now after holding it down, this is what I have. Okay, so the next thing now, from this waistline, I'm going to extend this straight down to my desired length. The longer it is, the better. I will extend this because this will have to be tied at the back, so it needs to be long. I'll just extend this depending on the amount of fabric you're using. Now I'm going to connect from this point down. The more I extend it, the thinner it gets, as you can see, because this will serve as the rope that will be tied at the back. Now from this point as well, I'm going to connect it. Subscribe to the channel if you're yet to subscribe to the channel, and give this video a thumbs up. Now I'll cut this out. Now I'm going to trace this out on the fabric. I made use of 2 yards of crepe. You can use Duchess or any light fabric for yours. Okay, I'm now going to trace this out. After tracing this out, this is what I have. I'll also left allowance on every side as seen. Make sure there's an allowance on every side, as you can see, on the shoulder, the sides, the hemline, everywhere there should be allowance. Now I'll take this out. Let me explain something. I cut like 4 pieces for this, but you mustn't cut 4 pieces for yours, okay? Because I want to use the same fabric to turn this, but you mustn't cut 4 pieces for yours. You can just cut your normal 2 piece, then cut your facing you'll be using to turn the shawl area, okay, like this part. Okay, you can just cut a facing that will start from the shoulder line to this point. That's enough. All right, you mustn't cut like 2 pieces. So 1.5 or 2 yards should be enough for you, depending on your size. You can leave this part the way it is. Then this side you can also cut facing to turn the hem of the top. You mustn't cut 4 pieces like mine. Now to close this, I'm going to place this right side facing right side. Now I'm going to sew this close, and to do this now, I'll be starting from this point, but I'm going to give like 1/2 inch, okay? From that 1/2 inch, I'm going to sew using 1/2 inch to close every side. And I'll be leaving just the shoulder area open. That's where I'll be turning it out from. I'll repeat the same thing for this other side. Now for the back piece, I'm also gonna head to cut my fabric for the back piece. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to sew in the darts. I made the mark on the fabric, so I'm going to take in the darts this way. Now I'm also gonna head to turn this. After sewing round, this is what we have. Okay, I also made a notch. Making a notch at this point and at this point is very important. Okay, I also made notches on every side. From this shoulder area, I'm just going to turn this to the right side. This is what we have. Now I'm going to iron this to get it to relax. This is what we have after ironing. I also iron the shawl area this way. Now from this point to this point, I'm going to take this lower part, place it this way, okay? Now I'm going to sew to this point. If you're not using lining to turn yours, you can just sew to the belt area, okay? Now I'll also repeat the same thing for this side. Take this point, place it this way, and then I will sew. Now after doing this, I'm going to turn this now to the right side, and this is what we have. Same thing for this other side. Now to close the collar area, I'll open this up this way. Now right side facing right side, I'm going to place it like this. Now I didn't close totally, I left like half an inch at this shoulder area as well, just like I did for this collar area. When I was closing it up, I left like half an inch. Now I'm going to close it up. I'm going to take one piece, right side facing right side, place it this way, and I'm going to sew using half an inch to close. Then I'm going to take this other side, flip it this other way, then I'm going to sew using half an inch. This is what I have once I was done with that. Now I'm going to open this side up now to close the little space left here. I've gone ahead to close it. Now I'll turn this to the right side. And this is what we have. Now for the back piece, I've gone ahead to take in the darts. I also went ahead to cut pieces to turn the lower part. I also cut pieces to turn the armhole area. Now to close this up, I'm going to take the back, right side facing right side, place it this way. Now at this collar area, I'm going to open it up like this. Now take this piece, the midpoints will meet the midpoints of the back. I'm going to pin it down. Then take the shoulder area. The shoulder area will meet the shoulder area. I'll open it up just like this. I'll also pin it. Do the same thing for this other side. And pin it. Now I'm going to sew. Using half an inch, I'm going to sew. Once I was done, this is what I have. Now to close this area, I'm just going to flip it back this way. Now I'll open it up. I'll push in this rough end and fold in this other side, just like this, okay? Pushing the rough end. Then I'm just going to run a tiny stitch on this. This will give a neat finishing. Just run a tiny stitch. Push the rough ends in. Then just sew. This is what I have once I was done. Now to close this, I'm going to take this way, right side facing right side. Now I'm going to sew. Now from the waistline, from this point, I'm going to go up by 1 inch and I'm going to make a mark, then come down by 1 inch as well. Now leaving a space of 2 inches in between. Now I'm going to close. When I get to this point, I'll stop. Then I'll also start sewing from this other point to the end, okay? Then at this other side, I'm just going to close it up. Now once I was done, this is what I have. And this is the opening at the side, that little space at the side. Now I'm going to take this part, pass it through this space, bring it out, and that's it. Once you've passed this through this space here, you just take this other part, then you tie this at the back, and that is it for the top. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you're yet to subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, leave me a comment, share the video, and turn on the notification bell so you'll be notified when next I post new videos. See you in the next one. Bye.